afternoon, Hive mates. It's a rainy day here in Utah, and I'm coming to you today with a question from an individual that I got just a little bit ago. There's a concerned mom saying that her daughter just came up to her and said, "Mom, I need to get on birth control." And the question Mom gave to me was, "I'm worried my daughter just wants to have sex, and should I get my daughter on the pill? Should I allow my daughter to go on the pill?" And it's a question that a lot of parents do have, because that's the number one. I mean, first, we're calling it birth control. If you're not thinking about, will my partner or individual or the person I love be having sex, well, it's the thing called the birth control. So of course we're going to be thinking of sexual desire throughout all this as well. So Mom is understandably concerned and scared that that her daughter could now be sexually active, and you know, she's a teenager and has these desires. So I wanted to answer that today. So there's a lot of other reasons that this daughter could be wanting to get on birth control. When I asked her a little bit more information, saying, "Hey, what else did she say besides, 'Mom, I want to be on birth control?" Came to find out her daughter is saying every time she's having a period, she gets extremely painful cramps, and describing them as stabbing pains. And she says her flow is so heavy that that when she stands up at times, she tends to get a lot of leaking, even with using super absorbent pads. So right off the bat, one of the first thoughts I'm having is we got to get her into a doctor to find out if there's something else going on. Stabbing pains? No, that's, you know, a lot of people experience pain on their period. It does not need to be that to that extent, and periods don't need to be that extremely painful either. So first thing going through my head is, does her daughter have endometriosis or some sort of other thing that needs to be looked at that we're not taking into account? First, we're going to birth control and wonder if she just wants to make sure she doesn't get pregnant, when in reality she's got a lot of pain going on. So I asked Mom, said, "Hey, you got to get curious. You got to figure out what pain she's going through, and then also let's not try and jump around the subject. Let's talk about sex." Because in her mind, maybe if this teenager is saying, "Oh, well, sweet, I want to have sex," say that there was no pain, and the main thing is she just wants to get on birth control because she doesn't want to get pregnant. First off, that's awesome that she's thinking that she doesn't want to have a child come into on Earth as of right now, and that she felt comfortable coming to Mom and talking about that. Like, that's a great thing. She's being responsible. Second thing is, she's probably not thinking about STIs or other issues that could be coming up. And we also need to talk about, you know, if she does want to be sexually active, how do we want her to decide when and who to be sexually active with? Where are we bringing up these values? So my first thought as I was talking to the mom, I said, we got to get curious about and get her into a doctor. And first thought is, Mom was saying she didn't really think it was that big of a deal because she had painful periods to the same extent that her daughter was expressing, which makes me sad a little bit, because she's been going through extremely painful periods her entire life, and that this has become the norm. And so when her daughter says, "I'm having extremely painful periods," she's saying, "Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. Like, that's what I get. That's what other people get. It's a part of being a woman." And no, it doesn't have the extreme pain and things like that. That's not a part of being a woman. That's a part of having a problem medically. And go and get that checked out. So yes, there are many other reasons why someone may want to explore having birth control. One of which is it can clear up acne. Yeehaw! Coming in hot. Sorry, things are slowing down. Now we're in traffic. First is being a safe driver while I'm on these vlogs. So one of the things that comes up for other reasons why your daughter may want to go on birth control, not just to not become pregnant, is maybe her periods are irregular. if we're having irregular periods, being on birth control can help your period become regular. And if you want more in-depth conversation about periods, go to birdsandbeespodcast.com or go to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and look up Period Positivity. That episode is phenomenal. We talked with April Davis about periods. Period. And she covers amazing information and goes really in depth about periods. So if you want to know more information about that, go to the episode, Birds and Bees Podcast. But having a regular period, having less pain during the period, it can actually help symptoms of ovarian cysts. It can also help with endometriosis, that pain that this daughter was talking about, as well as it can clear up your skin. I mean, we're dealing with hormones, so it can clear up the skin if she's having a lot of acne. Again, we're putting different hormones into the body, and it's helping regulate those hormones. It can also ease PMS symptoms of PMS, like whether it be mood swings or emotional changes, preemptive pain, things along those lines. It can really help out with some of those symptoms. And as I said before, give endometriosis and ovarian cysts relief on that pain. Interestingly enough, if someone is having a really heavy blood flow, sometimes that can even cause parts of anemia, meaning you've got low iron in your blood. And so being on a birth control, hormonal birth control, can also help with experiencing anemia and being able to get your iron levels into the place that they need to be, because you're not losing as much blood. It can help blood flow, such in the sense of if you get heavy periods, to kind of make those periods less. Main thing is, what I want you to do is to get curious, because for all these things, if daughter's just coming up to mom saying, "Mom, I want to get on birth control," of course the first thought we're going to have is, you want to have sex? Parent reaction, freak out. And that's a conversation we need to have. That's what we'll get into that in just a second. But get curious, find out, say, well, tell me what's going on. What is there something you're concerned about with your menstrual cycle? Is there anything that you feel I need to know? What kind of pain are you experiencing during your period, if you're experiencing any pain? Because periods don't have to be painful either. So not all periods are painful. So being able to be curious and explore their experience is going to give you a lot more information to work with, where you can get them to a doctor, you can get them the right information, you can put them on a birth control, and find out what birth control is best for them. That's a whole nother story, exploring different birth controls and what birth control is best for your daughter's body. All these things need to come from questions, need to come from being curious and exploring that. This is harder said than done, because if your first reaction is, you want to have sex, parental reactions that way are going to be very defensive, and you might find yourself saying something really short like, "You don't need that," or we jump to a conclusion. So just be really aware of how your reaction is and calm yourself down. Take that deep breath. Deep breath. Because if you can manage your distress, we're going to be able to get to that curiosity spot and really understand what issues need to be taken care of. Get them into a doctor, figure out what is going to be best for your daughter. Now, talking about birth control. Let's just say we're going to talk about birth control. And let's bring up the conversation. Are you interested in having sexual relations with somebody? Are you worried about becoming pregnant? If your daughter is thinking of having sexual experiences with somebody and is worried about being pregnant, it's important that we're talking about this. We're talking about what feels good to her. Also, who and how she decides she would like to have sex with somebody. This is where you can play values really well. That we're constantly trying to say, don't do this, don't do that, first response is, well, you could get pregnant, get an STI, and die. It's kind of that funny, what is that, Mean Girls. You will get an STI, you will get pregnant, you will die. And it doesn't take rocket science for them to figure out that, one, they're not going to die, and two, if they've got friends that are sexually active, that maybe they're not getting pregnant, and they're going to hear whatever they're hearing if you're not talking about it. So it is important to cover STIs, STDs, pregnancy. I also think it's extremely important to talk about when and with who would you like to experience sexual experiences. And let me break that down. One of those, and I probably just need to make another video on this. So real quickly, are they able to talk about sex before they're having sex? That would be one that I would encourage having them identify. Like, are you just hoping to randomly fall into a sexual experience, or do you want to feel something with this person, or do you want to know that they're going to respect your wishes of not getting pregnant, or using a condom, or whatever it may be? Having those open conversations allows them to start thinking about it. But I'll do another video on talking to your teenagers about who, what, when, where, why, and how of sexual experiences, so that they could start deciding versus just happening. So those are some reasons why we need to explore more, and why it's okay. We don't need to have it go right into this thought of, my daughter wants to go on birth control, therefore she wants to be sexually active. Let's change that thought process. Birth control does not equal I want to have sex. Birth control equals there is a lot of other reasons that could possibly be happening with my body that I would like some relief with, and I'm probably interested in having sex too. But we need to have that conversation. If you don't have the conversation, you don't know, and what you don't know can hurt relationships. So keep the buzz alive, everybody. Keep these conversations going. Send this video to anybody that has a daughter, whether they've started their period or not. This could be, I know you know somebody. I appreciate you sharing it. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you on here as a hive mate. We'll talk to y'all later. Keep the buzz alive. Love you guys.